over the last few videos, I've been able to show you some good progress in iRacing GT3. But in this video, I have a bit of an off day to show you. Now, the experience of this has certainly given me another interesting iRacing lesson to share with you. And yeah, I might be getting my first iRacing report, something that I need your perspective on for later in the video. So what does this off day look like? Here's how it went down. Let's dive in. So welcome to early morning Interlagos, here running some new colours, and just like my misaligned race number, my first qualifying performance was a little out of place, only qualifying position 17 for this 40-minute race. And this moment on the warm-up lap sort of started to show the way that these races were about to go. A collision here with the BMW was starting next to me on the grid while everyone was warming up, mostly single file, started me off with 4 incident points as we slightly missed the green light, jumping away to start out this race. Now charging down to turn 1, the famous Senna S safety was all I had in mind. A spinner there on the outside, but everyone through mostly cleanly, giving a little space at turn 2 just in case a car was on the inside, but we do manage to get through here nice and cleanly and hold on to that 17th position, seeing the damage there on the side of the car. Down towards turn number 4 on this first lap on cold tyres. Certainly a tricky opening lap here at Interlagos with the style of corners and the way these cold tyres work. Charging up the hill now to turns 6 and 7, and this was really the danger corner on this cold tyre lap, spinning so often in practice myself, and probably where I didn't maximise that well during the qualifying lap. Through turn 8 down towards turn number 9, a Ferrari spun on the outside there, and now 14 and 20 battling ahead. I'm going to get a run around the outside of car 20, which, as you might have noticed, was having a few connection issues a few corners ago. Not quite able to make that one work, so we're going to follow car 20 through turn number 11 to what is technically the last corner of this track, turn number 12, looking for a really good exit here up the hill in the slipstream now. You see more flashing there with connection issues. A little bit worried about that one, so any opportunity to make a move on this Porsche will be absolutely taken. We're getting a run here. He's going defensive down towards turn number 1, so we're going to take the outside run, able to hopefully hold it around the outside here. Definitely a possible move, and we do a decent job of that, taking the inside line at turn 2. Porsche running wide, and in front a McLaren there running wide as well, so we're going to have to take the long way around turn number 3, just holding on to it, and now 3 wide with that Porsche, managing to clear the lot of them, going defensive but not defensive enough. The pink Aston Martin down the inside at turn 4. I'm having to run wide to give some space. That's going to allow the Aston Martin through, and now side by side once again with the car number 1 McLaren charging up toward turn number 6. A little bit of a 0x contact there, bit of a bump, trying to hold this inside line desperately for turn number 8, but unfortunately the McLaren with a bit of momentum, he's definitely ahead there, holding now the inside line for turn 9. He runs a little bit wide, so I'm running a bit wide, slow exit, and now car number 20 is trying to fight back here. A defensive line for me down into turn 10, and that's going to be enough to clear that Porsche, which would be critical for the rest of my race, and losing a couple of spots in the process, but getting in front of car 20, which was the goal. Now pushing on 10 minutes, 30 minutes to go in this race, we have moved up to position number 14. Ahead a few cars, including the car 14 BMW we started next to on this race. Bit of a wiggle there from car 1 on this particular lap, and we're going to try and at least stay in touch with these guys. There's a little bit of a gap forming behind, and we're hoping to just find and settle into this race. Now, unfortunately, at this point, I wasn't quite happy with my race pace, and 1 minute 32.5 was my best lap so far, but I was able to find 31s in practice, so I'm definitely a bit off the mark, and this is just what having a bit of an off day on iRacing can look like sometimes. Start of lap number 10, and we got a little bit of a battle going on up ahead. The Mercedes and the BMW swapping positions there through turns 1 and 2, and closing in behind is car 17 and car number 8 as they've cleared that Porsche as well. And now this battle pack is starting to form. Car 14, aggressive move down the inside at turn number 4. That's going to make everyone slow on corner exit. And now that Mercedes behind is really into our battle here. Side by side for those cars coming up towards turns 6 and 7. We go nice and cautious on corner entry to see if anything happens in front. And drama does unfold. The McLaren into the back of the Mercedes. I go on the inside grass to avoid contact, picking up a slowdown, which we do have to serve around the outside of turn number 9, and then defensive down into turn 10. We do manage to get out of that without any damage and do pick up a couple of spots. Let's have a look what happens on the replay here. The McLaren into the back of the Mercedes, and my decision to take to the grass was absolutely the right one. With that Mercedes sliding down the track, we managed to avoid contact, do cut the corner obviously, but we do get out of there without picking up more damage on our car number 4 BMW. Obviously on the outside here is car number 1 as he has a look down to turn 10, but we are able to clear all of that. We do pick up a cheeky position on that McLaren with that move, but considering he caused the moment there, I was quite happy to let that one slide. Now we're going to push ahead a few laps, and it's pressure behind from car number 17. We've managed to obviously get some clear air for the first time in a while, and we wanted to push on and really see if our pace was actually on par here. Unfortunately, a little bit of a slide here, a little bit of a moment, just not as clean as we'd hoped to, and that Mercedes does get a move done on us down to turn number 1, the start of the next lap. At this stage, it's safe to say that I was getting a little bit frustrated in terms of not being able to find my practice pace. Haven't really been able to have this issue in the last few weeks, and unfortunately our frustration makes us push a little bit too hard. Getting loose on the curb of turn number 2, firing it into that left hand barrier, and now slow out of turn. The chasing pack is starting to close in here. With some wheel damage, we charge down to turn number 4. Although clear, we managed to run wide here at turn 4. Car not wanting to turn as nicely. We're slow on the green apron on the outside there, losing 4 spots and somehow still picking up a slowdown penalty despite being slow on the outside there. So we are down a number of spots, still struggling to find pace. Now with more damage on the car, things were not going well at all. But we were not done yet. Coming into the pit lane, the car is raised to change tyres because I had not toggled them off. See my reaction as I realised that. And then on cold tyres, pushing too hard on this Interlagos pit lane exit, we run wide and pick up some more wheel damage, this time on the right hand side of the car. Cold tyres again, we lose our final position and go all the way to the very back of this field. And it just really giving myself a pep talk here. What on earth has this race been? Now coming into the final few laps, we are going to pick up the odd position through some dramas from cars in front, but it was safe to say I was well ready for this race to be over, picking up 15 incident points, losing a monster chunk of safety rating, a big chunk of iRacing. This was not my best day. Surely though, we can improve. The no give up attitude I'm trying to put into iRacing at the moment was certainly going to need to be used. Let's dive into race 2. So race number 2, an unfortunate low qualifying position for me once again, but a change of expectation for this race, hoping to keep the car clean and try and find some more pace here at Interlagos. 20-minute fixed setup race, we get the green light and we jump away. Not the best start, a little bit of space there. McLaren going to make it 3 wide as we head down towards turn number 1, and we get a little bit late on the brakes, touching the BMW in front there, a little bit of a wiggle, but a 0x contact. That BMW then runs a bit wide there at turn 2. We're able to sneak on through with a car on my inside as well, and then on the outside another BMW car number 6 with a good run around the outside. We've still got the nose there, but we are going to get out of that one and not try and push it too hard at the start of this race. Through turn number 4, 16th position, not the best start here, but at least we've got through without damage, particularly with that bump at the start of the race. We can try and push on here and see if we can't find ourselves a little bit further up this 18 car field. Now coming down to turn number 8, down towards turn number 9, and unfortunately asking a little bit too much of the cold tyre there, losing it on corner entry. And as we get going again, car number 5 Corvette comes by and we find ourselves at the very back of this field. Nothing to lose from this point. Let's see what we can do as we start lap number 2. Yellow flags in front, McLaren on the outside of turn 1, so we do gain back 1 position here so far. And obviously we have got the clean racing space here that I was hoping for to try and find a bit of pace. Just hoping that was a bit further up the field. Now up in front at turn 4 in the middle of the top 10, we have this moment here, Aston Martin into the back of the BMW, lots of cars involved, and as we come around turn number 4, seeing the carnage there, picking up a few places as a result, so we're at least getting ourselves back up around where our starting position was for this race. Trying to find a bit of pace, we do come towards the back here of car number 8, the BMW we ran into at the start of the race, and I was getting a little bit more comfortable. Obviously these fixed setups, driving a little bit differently to the open setup I was using in the previous race, getting ourselves into the 32s and hoping to get ourselves a little bit faster by the end of the race. Now 1 more position there, Ferrari on the outside. And as you can see, we're coming into the very final lap here because it was relatively uneventful. I wasn't really able to find the race pace that I was hoping for, down to a 32.2, but lots of people in this race finding 31s, and I was never really able to get on back on terms here with car number 8 in front. Just a nice lonely race, 3 incident points for a few off tracks, and we were going to come down to finish this one off in that 12th position. So it felt like an improvement, but not where I wanted to be. Still having that off day, but surely we can make up for it in race 3. So here we are, can we turn things around? An improved qualifying in 9th position, and unfortunately we are going to miss the start once again. That row in front of us really jumping away, heading down towards turn number 1. Now, not wanting to repeat the contact we made in turn 1 at the start of the last race, we're a little bit more cautious. A car on my inside there at turn number 2, everyone giving racing room, and we've got enough momentum around the outside, in fact, to pull up in front. In the slipstream now of car number 8 BMW, running a little bit defensive towards the cars behind me as we get down to turn 4, the Mustang being defensive as well, and then a big slow up there in the middle of the corner from the Mustang makes a little bit of contact up in front. This really big crash, 3 wide through turn 5, those cars ahead. Thankfully most other people missing that one as well, but it's really created a very chaotic opening lap here. We're going to try it around the outside here, taking an opportune move at turn number 8, and as we get around the corner, unfortunately I find myself turned around. It was looking like a really good move there to claim a few spots at the start of this race, but unfortunately by turn 9 we are back to the back of the field for the second time in 2 races. Let's see the replay here, and you can see everyone's a bit slower up in front, Mustang being defensive. We go around the outside. It's actually the McLaren who was behind me who took a big dive down to the apex of turn number 8, hitting the BMW, then hits into me, and unfortunately we go around and what could have been a really nice opening lap turns into another disaster. Now we quickly get back on terms here, the start of lap number 3 on car 15 here. Nice run out of turn 5, heading up the hill. We go to the inside and we're able to dive in, making this move stick and up into position number 17. Moving on to lap number 4, we were going to get a bit of an assist here. Up in front, the Ferrari outbrakes himself a little bit down the inside of the Aston Martin. The Mercedes that was following him charges into the back of him, and the rest of the field is mostly collected. Fortunately, we are able to sneak through there unscathed and get a bit of a run here on the car number 9 Honda up towards turn number 6 and pick up a number of positions in the process. Quite a chaotic moment. We sort of needed that to get back into this race at all, and fortunately we have not picked up any damage through that process. However, now being up to position number 12, it was pretty much now or never to find the pace that I was hoping for and drive the race that I had been trying to drive the last few times. Coming through corners 6 and 7, we were trying to push on here and sort of establish this 12th place, and coming down to turn 9, we're just pushing a little bit too hard there, a bit of a slide, and that's allowing the Honda to get back onto terms, having to run a defensive line here down to turn number 10. So again, it was going to be a little bit scrappy, trying to find that extra pace of the 32.5 that I'd set on this lap so far, and overall it was causing quite the anxious moment with the pressure from behind and trying to chase down that Mercedes up in front. Now, as we come with 8 minutes to go, we were starting to close the gap. From the replays that we'd seen earlier, we have seen that this number 1 Mercedes got into the back of that Ferrari at turn 4, and as a result has actually lost its front bumper. By this stage of the race, I was unaware of that, and ultimately it meant that I had quite a bit of pace on this car, particularly through the slower middle sector of this lap. Start of lap number 10, and things were certainly going to heat up with this battle ahead. A little look at turn 1, lots of speed on this car through turn 4, and this understeer that he was struggling with was really starting to become apparent. Also, connection issues showing there as we get down to turn number 8 now, and turn number 10 was a corner I had lots of mid-corner pace on, actually running into the back of him on this lap 10 and finding a Ferrari on the outside of that turn, which actually made this battle for a top 10 finishing position. Now moving on to lap number 11, and the battle continues. As we got through turn number 4 up towards turn number 6, we're going to try a couple of alternate lines here with a little bit of a space to that Honda behind, trying to see where I can gain a bit of an advantage. Turn number 8, the Mercedes runs wide. As we get down to turn number 9, I'm looking for a really good exit here up towards what was the stronger corner on the track. He gets in the dirt, I've got a bit of a run, and we have a look down the inside. Now he's jinked to the right to defend. Unfortunately, committed to the braking zone, and we do manage to make a bit of contact, and that Mercedes unfortunately does get turned around. Let's have a look at it on the replay, and I think I might be being a little bit too ambitious here. You see, we had the run of showing the nose, and I get down to the apex, getting the car stopped, but there's just not enough space there. I'm just not far enough up alongside, and the touch there, a bit of net code I'm sure, and we are unable to go side by side through this turn. A bit of a half spin, and then unfortunately for that car, the cars behind also make some contact, and I have to apologize to this driver for my ambitious move. Obviously I get some words reporting me is in the conversation, and what do you guys think? Report worthy? What do you think of that move? Ultimately, I need to apologize. I think it's a bit too ambitious, but considering the previous laps, I just felt like I had to take a chance there. It was just on the wrong side of opportunity. Whoops is the thought there, and looking at it on replay, I certainly didn't feel like I was far enough alongside. So we might be receiving our first report, but for the rest of this race, I could not let up on the concentration. The Honda behind now making some big moves with that Mercedes now not in front. he's looking at the back of the top 10, and we're having to drive as best as we can here, trying to get on the power. Bit of a wiggle here. This is the second to last lap, so really one of the final opportunities for this Honda to make a move. He's right in the slipstream there, trying to get the power down on this BMW. Is he going to be close enough? He's trying to go and climb in. We're going to go a little bit defensive here. Doesn't quite look like he's far enough up to make a move, but holding the middle of the track there, still making the apex at turn 1, looking for a good exit out of turn 2, which we managed to get, and that just might be enough to hold off this Honda and hold on to this P10 position. Now ultimately, as we get in through this middle sector on this final lap, we have got to reflect on what this off day of iRacing has looked like. Now, it all started by not really being able to replicate my practice pace, and it sort of continued on from there with some subpar qualifying and just ultimately pushing the car a little bit too hard. The other thing to note is just how realistically impossible it is to get strong results when you are on an off day. Because of the closeness of field, it's just never possible, and I think I just tried too hard to create something that was not on the cards, potentially resulting in that incident in the final race as well. And ultimately, after this one, I felt it was the right call to not do any more racing in the week and just put this one to rest. We'll come back stronger next week, hopefully with a bit more on par pace, and see if we can't nab some better results from there. So, by my own standards, an off week on iRacing in the GT3 class. Again, a big apology to the number 1 Mercedes driver. Unfortunately, I was not able to communicate with him in the after race chat, so I do apologize for my ambitious move. A question to you guys though is, would you consider that a report-worthy incident? I'm not entirely sure where the line is of what should be reported or not, so I'd love to know from you guys, if you were the Mercedes driver, would you report me for that incident or not? Despite the subpar performance though, I was happy to learn the lessons that I did during this week on iRacing, something that I'm really going to need to take forward, as you can't be on your best form every single week. I hope you guys at least enjoyed some of those races. If you like this video or want to send me some encouragement, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. And if you are new around here, please consider subscribing to the channel. I promise you there are better races for me to show you. As always guys, race hard, stay positive, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.